which way is actually going to produce the absolute best result. So we're going to do this together, and the basic process of what I'm going to walk you through is going to be this. I'm going to give you the method first, and then what I'm going to do is I want to break down how you can actually get the best results. So stick with me till the end. If you want to know the exact results, SEOmastermind.org. Let's get into it. All right, so this is going to be a lot of fun. I decided to go ahead and share this with you today, so let's do that together. So first and foremost, the method is very easy. Let's say you and I want to rank for, I don't know, SEO consulting. I'm just using this as an example. One of the easiest and best ways to go ahead and do this is already get content that is being rewarded by Google. There's no better content than what Google's already rewarding, right? We can both agree on this. They've made up their mind, because I've read excellent articles, and I'm sure you've even written great articles. They won't rank for, so let's just take what's already being rewarded. Let's say it was this, and I don't know any of these companies. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying that I would ever utilizing these particular competitors. It's just for informational purposes only. So one of the best ways that we like to do this is you can go in and you want to start creating your article. You can either do a one-to-one, or you can start creating your own article much like this. So let's say I want to rank for SEO consulting. One of the easiest ways here is you come in here to docs, and there's other ways to do this too. Or better yet, you can even come right in here to say Google Translate, which is what we're going to be dissecting today. But one of the things that I like to do first and foremost is I like to put together a really nice article. Now, I won't go through the entire process with you, but what I like to do is open up the first 3 or first 5 competitors. I like to grab sections that are really good. And what I'll start doing is I will start creating the article, taking pieces from each of the sites. So let's say I would like, oh, hey, I really like this piece. Again, I'm not looking at this. I'm just putting it together so you understand the strategy. So what we're doing here is we're creating our article from the top performing websites based on the primary keyword that we want to rank for. So we went to the SERP. We put in our keyword. We went to the top 3 or top 5 competitors. You can either copy and paste the entire article over to either a Google Doc or inside of Notepad. Or what I like to do is I like to go ahead and take pieces from multiple sites like this. Like this could be perfect. So you grab a little chunk here, you grab a little chunk there, and they've even made new paraphrasing tools based on this idea. Things like phrase.io. There's tons of tools out there. Phrase is probably the most notable. Another really good one is, I forget. Phrase is probably one of the better ones, but in any case, we have another section here. So this paints the point of grabbing pieces or grabbing sections from the top competitors, compiling it into one article. But how do we beat the duplicate content? So what you would do then is you could either do it piece by piece, or you would take article that we've created together, right, based on leading competitors, and then you can simply take it over to Google Translate, and what you can do is you can then bring it into, say, French translates pretty well, at least allegedly, and this will get into our second piece of the video. We can go ahead and put it in here. It'll translate it to French. French translates very well. Then what you'll do is then what you want to do is you want to say, let's keep going. Now we're going to go. So French to this. You see what I'm doing here? I've now taken it from English to French. French, okay, to Nilingala. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Bear with me one moment. Copy this, copy. And now we want to go back to English. And you come in here and you go to English. This is English. Now there's been enough changes that I will have a uniquer piece of content. Unique enough to pass the 60% duplicate content filter. It's not word for word. In fact, I started with a massive article in English, if you don't recall, and now it's been condensed quite a bit now. And now I have a uniquer, but it still holds the same. It holds the same concept. So the syntactic analysis that Google is going to do, it'll still have the right words in a lot of the right, but it will be unique enough now that I should be able to post it and it'll bypass the 60% duplicate content filter. However, this was a very crude form of spinning or rephrasing or rewriting. Now, what we want to do together and what the main topic of today's video, other than showing you that small method, that's a very widely known method. But what I want to determine is, okay, so you guys grasp that concept. So what I want to know is this. So let's get rid of this. And now let's get into the second part of the video. Because now that you understand the idea, all right, taking a piece of content, either just a one-for-one, take the whole thing, translate it into multiple languages, and then back to English, it spins or rewrites the article in a sense. But what I want to know, which language, one-to-one, without having to do multiple processes, which language can I take the content, spin it into that particular different language, back to English, and end up with that 60% without having to do multiple hops? Because you and I both know that it's 60% to beat the duplicate content filter, all right? It's actually a little less, but we like to hit that 60%. So what we're going to do together is we're going to go out and figure out, well, language not only translates the best, but also the best with the most unique amount of words in it. In fact, I've already done a little bit of the homework. So this is actually going to be a test that I'm running inside the mastermind. Languages are best for spinning. So what we're going to do is, here's the setup. I'll share it with you. And again, I give out, this will be one of the tests that goes out into the newsletter. If you're interested in the newsletter, by all means, get on the newsletter. I think I share a test or 2 tests a month, depending on the month, but usually guaranteed at least 1 per month. Now, with that being said, this one's going to be what languages are best for spinning. We want to learn what language is best, not only good to translate, that will make the most sense, right? Because it has to make sense, but also changes enough to translate that we meet the 60% uniqueness mark. That's exactly what I explained, right? Below are the languages that translate the best. So I went out on the web, and not only I grabbed this is what Google says translates the best inside of Google Translate, but I also went to Rosetta Stone. I also went to other sources. Rosetta Stone is the first one that pops in my head. Now, what I found out is that French and German, these ones seem to translate the best. Why? Because they're very similar. Now, I don't want to take their word for it. I want to go out and figure out not only which one will translate the best, but which one will actually translate really good, beat that unique filter. So that's what we're going to do now together. I just wanted to break that down for you. The test copy that we will be using is going to be this, because there's different variations in it. Plus this particular, the words that are in this are near and dear to my heart and the niche that I'm in quite heavily. So what I want to do is we want to go out and see content we can go out there and produce. So here we go. We're going to do it together. I'm going to do the work for you. And we're going to go out there and figure out which one's best. Let's make sure that we're streaming good. We are. And some of you might already know the answer, but I need to know for myself, because I've read things and I've heard things, but I have to know for myself. All right. So that's what we're going to do right now. The first one that we're going to do, because I know that this one translates pretty well, is going to be English to, all right, so we're going to go English to French. So we have this, and then we're going to do, we might be, so let's go back to our little sheet here. So here's the slight, all right? So this is going to be French to English, all right? So already I could see some slight changes, very, very slight. We're just going to base it off of this first little piece here. So the original copy, this is original test copy. If you don't want to work with large companies that buy houses for cash. Now from French to English, if you don't want to work with big companies that buy houses for, so if you don't want to work with big companies, it's large companies that buy houses for cash. So all they did was switch out almost like a synonym, not that big of a change. You have other options. Individual real estate investors are always on the hunt for properties, always on the lookout for properties. So again, they changed lookout for hunt. These local investors generally fall into 2 categories. Very, very similar. Selling to a real estate investor, homeowners would be willing to network, and negotiate. So very similar. So even though French translates to English very well, there's not enough chain, right? So yeah, it translates great. It's actually too good, to be honest with you. It translates too good. So this is going to be unacceptable for our purposes. Yeah, it translates perfect, but it's just unacceptable. So what I'm thinking is this. What if we were? Let's try one that's a little bit more difficult. So let's take our original copy here. All right, so we're going to start with this. And let's do one that actually translates really bad. Because again, what we're looking for is not only a good spin, but it has to change enough that we could literally go and use it. So we need to see a lot more changes within the content. So I know one that a lot of things struggle with. What I want to go down here and check, and this was a recommendation from my good friend Craig. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go see what is it? Swedish. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go English to Swedish. Control V. So now we have this right here. So now what I want to do is and what we're gonna do is bring it right back in here to English, and we're gonna have ourselves a little look. If you don't want to work, alrighty. Right now, I completely understand that generally you're going to hop it a few times. This way you can get enough changes in the text to accomplish the goal. However, when you're utilizing the API or making calls, not only is there computing power there, but let's say you're doing it manually, that's a lot of time. I have to translate it 3-4 times. It becomes, if we're spinning content, we want it to be as easy as possible. I'm sure you can agree, right? So which one does it the best? Which one does it the fastest? That's what we're here to figure out, okay? Now, this might not be the funnest video. At least we'll have the answer for it that I'm looking, and I'll share it with you, all right? Because I'm going to do it for you. And you might not even have wondered this, but I've been wondering for a while, like, well, which one can do it really good? So if you don't want to work with big companies that buy houses, so this one actually does almost word for word. This one does it word for word. So this does not make enough changes on. All right. So we actually have documents, websites. So let's see if we can keep going here. Let's do one that's a lot. All right. So we're going to take our original copy. We're looking for doesn't have to be a ton, but there has to be. All right. So let's go again. Let's find another one that's really hard. So I know that Arabic, I believe, or I think that Chinese is probably the one that really doesn't resonate too well. We'll go to traditional Chinese. So what we're going to start with is English. I'm going to put in our original text, and we're going to put it into traditional. Take both of these. Now what we want to do is we want to go back to Google Translate, thinking that this might be the one that for us, because I'm not looking for a perfect translation. I'm looking for it to, all right. So what we're looking for is traditional Chinese to English. So here we go. I hope we're not, but we might be. This is Chinese. So if you don't want to work with big company, you're home for cash. Oh, we had a change. Individual real estate investors are always looking. Oh, they changed that. On the lookout for properties. Changed it. Always looking for property. Hey, that's a nice little. These local investors generally fall into two categories. These local investors generally fall into selling to real estate investors. Selling to real estate is best for homeowners who are willing to network and negotiate with investors in their community. Typically, so they wrote usually through in-person meetups and online forums. You can always use third-party companies. Use a third-party company, such as one that is introduced to real estate. Okay, so that was quite a change. These professional buyers often buy property as is. These specialized buyers often purchase properties as is. That was particularly if your home is in a desirable location. I'm really liking this change. These professional buyers often buy property as is, especially if your home is in a desirable location or has considerable resale potential or rental value. So there was 2 modifications, but I really don't think that's going to hit us to 60. However, looking at our original test copy, I don't think there's enough hard words in there, if you get what I'm saying. Words like, there's not enough twang to article. If that's a good word or terminology. So I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I really like Chinese to English. So probably the one that has changed the most. Or Chinese traditional has made the biggest modification. All right, let's try another tough one. So we actually want the ones that don't translate that well for the best modification. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I was thinking, which ones translate the best? Maybe I'm wrong. Let's go and check another one and see if we get another change, and then we'll swap the article and see. So let's go out there on the web, because maybe I was looking at it wrong. I've been wrong lots of times. So let's go and take a check here. So maybe it's, which ones translate the worst to English? What are they the worst at translating? Because maybe that's where you really have to define worst. This guy's funny. I don't know who it is, but 90 language available to select. Okay, so we are looking for the worst translation, meaning like it just jumbles words together. Entirely really what I'm after. About 60% unique. That's what I really need. Come on, Google. All right, so here we go. What I have found though, is there's another one. I'm using Google Translate. What we have been using internally, and that's why I'm testing Google Translate. A lot of people use Google Translate. It's a little bit cheaper. What we've been using is Deep, and what we have found with DeepL is that it's actually really bad at translating. It changes all kinds of words. It works great, but the cost can be considerably more depending on how many millions of words that you're paying on documents that, it becomes a little bit pricey. So Google Translate can be a lot cheaper. So that's why we are looking to, all right? So that's why we're doing this together today. What are examples of the worst translations? What are some of the best or worst? What languages are the hardest to translate into English? So Chinese is considered the hardest, so Mandarin. Okay, so here's what we want to do. So let's take this into account. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take just a snippet. So the 5 most difficult languages to translate. I have a feeling that we're on our way now. So the easiest actually didn't make enough modifications. This is what we're finding from our testing. Like I did the best ones first. French, German, Swedish, these are supposed to be the easiest. And you're right. They translate 1-to-1. Not good for... So what we're going to do is we're going to start switching this up a little bit. We're going to go for the hardest because I actually got the best results from this one here. The most unique article. All right. So there's a lot of change. So we're going to go ahead and do another one here. So we're going to try Korean next. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Korean and we're going to detect language. No, it's easy. And remember, I'm not swip swapping. I'm not taking the Chinese and then Korean, English. No, getting the fresh article, Control V from my pile, translating into Korean. Then I'm taking the Korean. Now I'm going to go up here. I'm going to make this English. All right. And now we're going to grab this. Let's do a refresh. All right, let's take a look here. If you don't want to work with a large company that buys houses with, you don't want to work with a large that buys houses. So they changed the width and the companies to company. So what would that percentage be? Give me 1 second because I have to look at this as a, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 18 words and they changed. It's almost like a spin in a way. That is what we're doing. Oh, that is what we're doing. There are other options. Individual real estate investors. Let's see if we could get a better, let's see. So if we grab this, have a nice, let me just see here. Local investors. Sellers generally fall into categories. Selling to real estate who want to network. They put willing to network, want to network, and negotiate with investors typically through in-person meetups, either in person or through online forums. Completely swap that one. So that was a 1. So they changed 7 out of, so what would that be? I'm so bad at doing this. Minus, well, that would be 3, 20%. That would be 6. So it's not 20, it would be like, what, 23%? So if the 2 worst are producing probably about 23%, right? Because if there's 40 words and they changed out, what, 8? You know what I mean? Like, what is that, about 22%? Like, that's not going to be enough to beat it's just not going to be enough. Let's try another one out because we're doing the worst ones now and we want to get the worst we can. But let's try it on a little bit of a better document. You know what I'm saying? Let's just try this on a little bit of a better document, like where there's a lot more variation, and then we'll see. So let's go out here and just have ourselves a little check. Give me 1 moment. Let's go and grab something. Let's grab something. So let's just do one. I don't know. Real estate agent Los Angeles? How about that? Real estate agent in Los Angeles. Let's go out there. My client's not in Los Angeles, but they're a real estate agent, but they're luckily not in Los Angeles. So, get a listicle. Best real estate agents. Oops, sorry for my spelling. I still have it wrong, but that's fine. Google will correct me because I'm good at stuff like that. What we're looking to do, though, is here's the top 30. So let's go and get some of this wording. Got ourselves a nice block here. Hopefully they have some hard to... Let's grab this. I'm looking for a nicer block census. So they're just little blurbs about a business. There's too many squiggly brackets and stuff. They're too precise. There's names in there. What we want to do... okay. What is... How about this? Real estate. My mistake. I'm learning with you here. I'm trying to produce and learn what's going to be the best. If you're just hopping on right now, we need to know which one translates the worst. It's going to switch out the most words. So I could just go grab an article, spin it, translate it, get the same meaning. When Google did BERT, okay? When they updated in September, when everybody got their head split, what I saw as the difference, besides links and everything, was the way that they're doing syntactic analysis. Previously, they were just grabbing the first 472 tokens on it. No question about it in my mind. I could be wrong. And they were indexing based on the first 472 tokens. See, now I think they're taking not only the top, but they're taking the bottom at first for indexation. This is my opinion. I don't work at Google. I have no idea. But it's clear as day. Right? So if they're taking from the top, taking from the bottom, and they're able to understand now the syntactic analysis between, okay, so these words up here and these words down here, do they correspond with one another? Okay, is this relevant, basically? As long as I can get the right score after analysis, after the first, I needed to beat duplicate content, and I needed to make sense enough that I can get it indexed. Period, blank, end of statement. And I know that this is consistent and it works because I have access to multiple auto-generated sites that are doing hundreds of thousands of visitors, and they're just cranking it out. And these are non-English speakers, and I know exactly what they're doing, but they're not going to just give it to me. They might tell me the steps. Say, oh, Chris, do this. I need to figure out, well, what are they doing here? So that's what we're doing together, and I'll share with you. So hopefully you can get some more articles without doing a lot of work. Enough jibber jawing. Let's get back to work here. We're getting in here now. We have some really difficult words. When you have high-quality articles, you'll always run across difficult words. Maybe even difficult to pronounce and understand. So it could get lost in translation, which is exactly what we need. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I do not believe, because of cost, $50 to an American is far different than $50 to other people around the world. So I know whatever they're doing, because they're doing it at scale, has to be limit cost. It has to be very small cost. It has to be, in order for them to produce and get a result. Low margin up front, high result and high return. That's that. I know it. Just know these guys. So let's go in here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch up. We're going to grab a little bit of a harder test copy. So original test copy. And I wrote original because we're going to do a secondary test copy. Okay, this is going to be the secondary test copy. We have a little bit more with a lot more different variations in it. Now, what I do not want, I like these words like stock market, like there's different words here. Civil rights, like these things mean something to me, but would they mean something in a different language? I don't know. Years do not matter. I don't even want to use a number's a number no matter where you're at. Easily translate it out of here. Score. Ding, 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 ding. Remember playing Street Fighter? You probably don't. Let's get back into here. We have English. We want to go ahead and we're going to try yet another article in Korean. We're just going to go ahead and see how it fends off with. Last time I actually really liked the translation from English, from Korean back to English. The most changes but still held meaning, right? And I really like that. Something that I noticed when spinning with multiple, when you take it from, say, English to, say, Chinese, and then Chinese to Korean, and then Korean to Dutch, and then you take Dutch back to English, when you read it, you're like, what? You know what I mean? I don't want that. Personally, I don't want that. All right, so I'm just letting you know why we're doing it. We went ahead and we have translated this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. This is Korean. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get a fresh start here. All right, so we're just going to start. We're going to do Korean to English. All right, we're going to go ahead and grab this. Now let's see what we got. On our first analysis, we did very well. All right, we're going to do to Korean. Now, the issue, though, is I don't want it to be too big because now we won't be able to get it. So let's just do this first line. All right. The natural right of a person to own property as a concept can be seen as having roots in Roman law. Korean 2 is the natural right to own property as a concept has its roots in Roman law, as well as Greek philosophy. The profession of appraisal can be seen as beginning in England. The profession of appraiser can be seen as originating in England, while our preparation, they got that right. The profession of appraisal can be seen in the beginning, acquired land clearing and land preparation. Okay, so there was change in meaning, so the very slight. So are these changes in variation going to be universal across each of the languages that are hard to translate? Is that what we're gonna, let's get rid of that. Grab another little block. I don't need, okay. So let's go ahead and try that out. All right, so we're gonna do translate.google. Now what we want is English. So there's simplified and then there's so I did traditional. Should we do simplified? Is there a difference? Clearly there's a difference because there's two of them, Chris. Far less. Okay, so we're going to do translate. We're going to go back to English, see what we got. So Korean 2, this is going to be simplified. As a concept, it can be seen as originated from Roman law. As a concept, can be seen as having roots in Roman law. Big change there. As well as Greek philosophy. And Greek philosophy. As well as, they took that out and just put "and." The profession of appraisal. Appraisal profession. Totally switch those words out. Can be seen as starting in the UK. Can be seen as beginning in England. Changed out entire word there. Can be, so 2 words, 3 words actually. So they changed 3 words. I'm really liking this. Agriculture requires land clearing and land preparation. As agriculture needs required land clearing and land preparation. So another slight change, but they changed. That's another sentence that was changed. Very, very good. The stock market crash and the Great Depression. So that's the original. The stock market crash of and U.S. stock market crash and the Great Recession led to a massive drop in real estate. So simplify. Really, really like this. I like that one so far. All right, let's grab our test copy. We're going to do a few more. What else is really bad or really good? It depends. Nothing against the languages. If you speak these languages, this has nothing to do with anything other than I'm trying to figure out our history, just so we're not stepping on anything, just in case. All right, we're going to go right out here. We're going to go English to, now we're going to go to detect language. So that's the second test. Make this regular, a little bigger so I can read it. All right, as a concept can be seen as having roots in Roman law. It is a concept that can be seen to have its roots in Roman law and Greek philosophy. So it has not only changed it, but added stuff to it. So that's interesting. That could just be something Google just does. I don't know. The appraisal profession. Mine is the profession of appraisal. The appraisal profession can be seen as its beginnings in England. Can be seen as beginning in the appraisal profession can be seen in England during a time when our agriculture needs required land clearing. As agricultural needs required land clearing and land preparation. Stock market crash, the stock market crash, and the Great Depression, So it's changed. It almost fixed it in a way. Housing financing in the U.S. Where's the 11? Okay, so housing financing 11. Housing financing in the U.S. in the United States was greatly affected by the Banking Act, Federal Housing Act, and the National Housing Act in 19. National, interesting, they changed those words out because it allows mortgage insurance for home buyers, and this system was implemented by the Federal Deposit Insurance as well as the Federal Housing Administration. Federal Housing. So actually, I think I like that simplified better. I'm not gonna yank your chain on that one. I think I like the I think so far that simplified really made the most changes so far. Let's do another one. Which one else is really supposedly doesn't? Hungarian. Let's try that one out then. So let's do English. All right, so we're gonna go out here, grab our piece of content here that we want to. Let's start off with the proper word, and we'll end with a period just so it knows that we're doing this. We're gonna keep these numbers in here as checkpoints, basically. This is where one idea stopped and started. That's how I put it in here when I was copying it from Wikipedia. This content's from Wikipedia. If you're just joining me, we're trying to figure out translation will actually take the most or add the most words without doing the least amount of work. That's what we're doing here. We're gonna go ahead and go to translate. We are going to put in our English and we're going to change it into Hungarian. Control V. This is the one that Google actually has the most trouble translating. The best for us. We don't want it to translate one-to-one, which I don't know why I would think that I would want that. So what we want to do now is we want to take our Hungarian. We're going to go back to translate.google.com and we're going to put in Hungarian and we're going to put it into, right? We're going to go ahead and grab our text that has been translated right underneath our secondary test copy, type in Hungarian, and this is the Hungarian translation right here. It can be considered a concept rooted in Roman law. As a concept can be seen as having roots roots in Roman law, as well as Greek philosophy. Trimmed all that junk right out of there. That is excellent. The profession of can be seen as beginning in England. The appraiser profession began in England as agricultural needs required land clearing and land preparation. So it just trimmed out. Okay, that's ooh, I'm really liking Hungarian right so far in this little tidbit here. The U.S. stock market, the Great Depression in U.S. Oh, so it's, dude, I'm looking for, so the U.S. stock market crash and the Great Depression. The stock market crash and the Great Depression in the United States, in U.S., caused a major drop in real estate worth. Significant drop in real estate values, prices, ultimately resulting in a 50% drop in value over the following 4 years. Completely changed that whole chunk, those 2 lines, it completely changed the whole freaking thing. But it has the same meaning. Hungarian. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. As it allowed for mortgage insurance for home buyers. Housing financing. Because it allowed for mortgage insurance. As it allowed for mortgage for home buyers. Okay. Introduced by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So they added corporation, but that wasn't even in the original text. They actually added a word. As well as the Federal Housing Administration. As well as the. So they kept that, but they added another word. Hungarian is, I like it a lot. Hungarian has definitely made the most changes, and it has simplified. Remove duplicate words. 100 words. I'm on a live. What time? Do you need me to go get that? Do you need me to run over? Sure. I can do that right now. I can end this. I pretty much got to the part of the video. So yeah, I could take care of that. I lost track of. Okay, have a great day. I gotta run, but you see what I'm doing? I have to run right now, unfortunately. But we checked Mandarin, traditional and simplified. We checked Arabic, Korean, Thai, Hungarian, simplified Chinese, Swedish. What I'm finding from some of them, like Korean and the Chinese, it's changing about, so could that 25% optimization, aka adding a higher density and changing out heading tags, titles, headers, images, alt text, plus increasing the density, would that be enough to carry a page? I have a test case running an actual site where we're we're auto-generating. We'll share the findings with live on on YouTube, like publicly. Once we get a nice process down and we get a lot of content, figure out all the little tidbits. But this is article spinning. Languages are, I walked through the method of translation, double translation, very well-known strategy. We are trying to figure out what can we take and do the least amount of work to get the best result. On top of that, I also shared another strategy, rephrasing, because another really good way to get a unique article is you don't just grab a piece from this article, a piece from this article, a piece from this article, throw it in and translate it into Hungarian, and then from Hungarian back, you'll have yourself 100%. That's probably going to be the process for us moving forward, but I wanted to go ahead and share this with you. I would have loved to answer your questions. However, I will answer them below because I'm just a great guy. I will answer them in the below section. But it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. My name is Chris Palmer. If you have any questions, ask them below. I'll have to come back on. I have another appointment coming up. I lost track of time. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me. I'm Chris Palmer, SEOmastermind.org, services.chrispalmermarketing. Whatever I could do for you, I'd love to help you, but I gotta go. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.